The sole purpose of this video is to provide a basic overview and orientation of your new apparatus. This video is not intended to act as or replace individualized driver-operator training. Individual fire departments may base guidelines, policies, and procedures tailored for best practices. Pierce Manufacturing and Hughes Fire Equipment representatives are not liable for injuries caused from acts resulting from actions inconsistent with the information provided within this video and/or accompanying manuals. Refer to the Operation and Maintenance Manual for complete details relating to the components and features of this apparatus. Only trained personnel should operate this vehicle or perform maintenance. You are responsible for learning how to operate this fire apparatus under all conditions without having to refer to the manual while operating at an emergency incident. This video will discuss types of warnings and caution labels. It is your responsibility to locate and identify each of the labels and understand the importance and associated hazards. Warning labels will point out procedure that must be taken or action that must be avoided to guard against the possibility of serious injury or death. Caution labels will advise you that there is a risk of damage to property if certain precautions are not followed. Continuous training, reviewing of operation and service manuals, developing good standardized practices will assist driver operators with a more complete understanding of the components and operation of this fire apparatus. As the driver operator of this vehicle, you are responsible for understanding the function of each component of the apparatus, maintaining control of the fire apparatus at all times while in operation. Make operational and functional changes while operating at an emergency without having to read operator's instructions or safety warning labels. Operate manual override and emergency shutdown procedures immediately if a component fails to operate properly. Components location may vary with each Pierce fire apparatus. Review the exact location of each component prior to operation. Major inconsistencies between your vehicle and the information contained in this video should be directed to your sales representative. Safe operation of any vehicle is the responsibility of the driver operator. You must learn the location and function of all controls, switches, gauges, valves, inlets, and discharges. Due to a higher center of gravity, heavy trucks have a significantly higher rollover tendency than other types of vehicles. To reduce the risk of rollover, avoid making sharp turns, excessive speed, and avoid abrupt maneuvers. In the event of a rollover crash, an unbelted person is significantly more likely to become injured or die than a person wearing a seatbelt. In the event of a crash, unbuckled occupants can also become a hazard to other occupants, as they may be thrown around inside the cab. Seatbelts are required while in operation. Please refer to your warranty certificates for details and information enclosed in your manuals. Customer-installed equipment must be mounted to withstand road travel and comply with NFPA 1901. Modifications such as drilling holes or welding to structural frame components of the chassis are not permitted. Contact Pierce for instruction and review of non-structural sheet metal or other dissimilar metals for modification. Follow the radio installation guide for further assistance on installing or mounting electronics. Before placing your new apparatus into service, perform a primary inspection of key components of the apparatus, including all fluid levels, anti-lock braking systems, electronic stability control, and automatic traction control. Weigh your apparatus to ensure that it conforms to axle and brake ratings. Never exceed the gross axle rating printed on the label inside the cab. Exceeding these ratings could lead to reduced component life, personal injury, or death. Review the use of auxiliary braking systems, compression brake, exhaust brake, electronic retarder, and hydraulic retarder. Before placing the apparatus in service, refer to the operational maintenance manuals. Information on the operation and maintenance functions for the components such as the pump, pressure governor, and foam systems, along with other options, is provided in either the Pierce manuals and/or other manufacturer support information delivered with the apparatus. If you need more information, please contact Hughes Fire Equipment. Congratulations, McMinnville Fire District, Oregon, job number 39293. Please utilize this 5-digit job number when referencing your apparatus with Hughes Fire Equipment and Pierce Manufacturing. We'll get started on a brief orientation of your new apparatus. First, starting at the front bumper, you'll find 2 open-ended tow hooks on the passenger and driver's side. These are not intended for towing and have 6,000 pounds direct pull. On the face of the bumper, you'll find dual air horns on the passenger and driver's side. As you move over to the driver's side face of the front bumper, you'll find your electronic siren and PA speaker. Moving up onto the bumper extension, you'll find a D handle, gains you access into the front hose storage location. Onto the cab face, you'll find marker turn indicator lights and headlight structure housing low and high beam headlights. Just inside that location in the grille area, forward-facing emergency warning lights. Directly above the Freightliner logo is where you'll find the grab handle for tilting the hood. There are 2 windshield wipers across the front windshield, and as we move to the A-pillar, you'll find your mirror housing a flat mirror and also a convex mirror. Moving up onto the center section, at the roof of the apparatus, you'll find a forward-facing floodlight, and as we move to the brow of the apparatus, you'll find 5 identification clearance lights. Located on the roof, you'll find your emergency warning light bar. Let's go ahead and take a look at a few close-ups of the items that we just talked about. First, starting with the front bumper area, where you'll find those open-ended tow hooks. As we move now into the front section on the driver's side, electronic siren and air horn. As we move to the headlight structure, low and high beam headlights. High beam is located on the inside. Bumper extension, D handle gains you access into the storage location. This is where you'll find a swivel discharge and dry deck material at the floor. As we move back to the cab area, forward-facing emergency warning lights. Moving now to the top of the hood, where you'll find the Freightliner logo and also pull location for tilting the hood. As we move to the brow of the apparatus, forward-facing floodlight. We're now onto the side of the bumper extension, where you'll find a side-facing emergency warning light, and then also you'll find the air inlet on the driver's side of the roof area or hood area. Moving directly over the fender, you'll find a marker turn indicator light, and at the rear of the fender well, you'll find the release mechanism for accessing the hood. Let's take a look at a side view of the apparatus. We'll start first with your Alcoa wheel. Moving now to the forward section, where you'll find that side-facing emergency warning light. Moving now to the step area, where you'll find in the driver's space the ultra low sulfur diesel fuel location and also DEF location for fuel. As we move to the access, you'll find easily accessible with a gloved hand. These are the door lock and latch combination. They are keyed. Right next to that is where you'll find the grab handle for maintaining 3 points of entry and exit. Let's take a few close-ups here of those things. First, Michelin tires, Alcoa wheel. As we move up to the mirror, you'll find the flat mirror and convex mirror just on the A-pillar door. Also moving now to the stepwell area, where you'll find your ultra low sulfur diesel. It is the silver cap. There are also identification placards indicating ultra low sulfur diesel. As we move to the right, you'll find the blue cap, which is your DEF fill location. And as a reminder, manufacturer recommends individual types of DEF. Please follow those instructions from the owner's manual. As we move into the cab area, you'll find these warning placards indicating for your safety, grab handle, and latch. As we move to the top of the door, you'll find your door lock, window control, and then also mirror control and mirror heat for right and left mirror. As we move inside the driver's space, you'll find the master battery switch down at the base of the seat. You'll also find just up from this location a panel that has a yellow placard. This is the information regarding your vehicle, 5-digit job number, gross vehicle weight rating, cold tire inflation, the VIN number, all of the fluid capacities, and also fluid types. As we move just inside, you'll find you have a keyed ignition switch. There is also a yellow placard just above the keyed switch location. This is information here housed about your vehicle, indicating the height of the vehicle, 9 feet 8 inches, length of the vehicle, 31 feet 4 inches, gross vehicle weight rating, 39,300 pounds. As we move to the steering column, you'll find windshield wiper control. As we move to the center steering column, you'll find activations here on the left-hand side for function buttons through the vehicle display screen in the main cluster. And then you'll also find cruise control. As we move to the dash itself, you'll find your oil pressure on the left gauge. Just to the right, you'll find a combination gauge for fuel and DEF level. Just up from that location, you'll find the tachometer. As we move to the opposite side of the dash cluster, we'll start in the lower right-hand corner where you'll find the air and then also water temperature. As we move up from that location, you'll find the speedometer located in the upper right-hand corner. And then as we move toward the center section, you'll find diagnostic information and information regarding your vehicle will display in the display screen located between the tachometer and speedometer. Let's look just to the right of the operator where you'll find your pull to apply your system parking brake and push to release. These are the rear spring brakes. You'll also find your vehicle data recording port located in the very top section. As we move down to the very bottom section, I've got an expanded view of this area. First, let's start with the red switch, which is your 4-way flasher or emergency flashers, dome light, footwell, and automatic traction control. As we move to the right, you'll find your regen on-off switch. Then starting down the lower section, you'll find your high idle, okay to engage the high idle, individual air horn switch, load manager, and all of your scene lights. Moving to the right, Pierce Information Center. This displays seatbelt information. Red, someone is in the seat and not belted. Green, they're in the seat and belted. To the right, your pump mode from pump shift. Also 2 indicators, pump engaged and okay to pump. You'll also find tally lights on the far right-hand side. As we move down, you'll find your climate control for heat, air conditioning, and defrost. Moving down to the dash area, this is where you'll find your map book and also 12-volt access via USB. Additional material storage, and as we look to the upper portion over the driver's space, you'll find all of your emergency warning lights in addition to your electronic siren control and PA speaker system. As we move toward the rear cab area, we're accessing the rear cab door where you'll find 3 seats located across the rear wall of the cab. All of these do house SCBA brackets. Let's go ahead and move now to the exterior of the vehicle. We'll start first in the upper section of the pump panel area where you'll find your netting. This is protecting the crosslay area, the crosslay 1 and crosslay number 2. There are also grab handles located here for access. As we move into the pump panel, we'll start in the upper section, first starting with a warning placard. Do not ride on the vehicle, and also when climbing on or off the vehicle, please face the vehicle. As you move to the gray module, you'll find your master intake gauge and also master discharge gauge. In between the two of those gauges are your test gauge ports for vacuum and pressure. They're currently plugged and are utilized for testing purposes. Let's move just to the right of this location where you'll find your pressure throttle governor. Please see your owner's manual for more information for its operation. Also a switch panel for panel lights, and then also an indication for OK to pump, indicating that you've engaged everything properly from within inside the cab. Also an audible speaker here located on the very bottom section. The outer edge of that bezel does rotate. Front discharge, crosslay 1 and 2 located here. As we move just to the right of this location, you'll find a warning placard indicating entanglement hazard. Because those lines coming from aloft, there is the possibility of entanglement. This is the minimum operation maintenance schedule for test pressures at 150, 200, and 250 psi. You'll also find your deluge discharge and driver rear discharge. To the right, this is that same audible speaker, just a close-up of it. As we move to the right, LED water tank level indicator. Moving down and to the left, you'll find driver 1 and passenger number 2. Moving just to the right, large diameter passenger side discharge. And then as we move into the fire pump primer, we do have instructions for its operation, at least 1,000 RPMs for best practices when activation of the fire pump primer. As we move to the right, you'll find your engine cooler. That is a twist. And then also as we move down, you'll find the tank fill and recirculating line and tank to pump. Moving down on the pump panel, we'll start first with the number 1 driver's side 2.5-inch discharge. Also a placard here regarding warning, caps may be under pressure, be cautious when opening them. And then also in the very center, large diameter pump inlet is the Pierce American Flag Eagle logo. On the right, you'll find the main pump drain, and then just below that, you'll find the manual pump shift. As we move to the left, a warning placard, only trained personnel should operate this piece of equipment only after proper training. Shoreline inlet, auto eject 20 amp, and right next to that you'll find an air inlet. As we move down across the very bottom section, you'll find the 2.5-inch auxiliary inlet, locally controlled via the ball valve female. Also to the right in the lower section, you're going to find all of our color-coded and labeled discharge drains, along with the placard on the far right, which is your Watrous placard indicating the type of pump that you have, and also indicating the capacity at 1,500 GPM. On the vertical side sheet, you'll find fold down steps for gaining access to go aloft. As we move to the body section, we'll start just in front of the rear axle with a marker turn indicator. As we move toward the rear portion, you'll find folding wheel chock storage. And then in front and rear of the axle, you'll find SCBA bottle storage. In the center, over the rear axle, emergency warning light, part of the lower emergency warning light zone. And as we move up to the top, 2 side-facing scene lights on the body section, and to the very rear, an emergency warning light, part of the upper emergency warning light section. As we look into the storage compartments here, trigger latch will gain you access into this space. This is the SCBA bottle storage for 2 bottles with retaining straps. Marker turn indicator light, this is directly in front of the rear axle. As you move over wheel, you'll find an emergency warning light side facing, part of the lower emergency warning light. And then also as we move toward the rear, trigger latch will gain you access into bottle storage for 2 SCBA bottles with retaining straps. Michelin tires and Alcoa wheel. Let's move up to the very top section of the body, where you'll find the forward section of the body, side-facing scene light. As you move toward the rear body, you'll find a side-facing scene light. And then as we move toward the rear of the apparatus, emergency warning light, 360 degrees. Let's move now into the compartment space itself. We'll start on the vertical side sheet here in the first compartment. This is your battery charger. When plugged into Shoreline Power, this will activate, maintaining battery status. As we move to the over wheel compartment, you have adjustable shelves, LED lighting. To the rear portion, a pull-out floor-mounted tray, release located on the lower right-hand side here. As we move just underneath this compartment, you'll find storage location for your wheel chocks. As we move around now to the rear of the apparatus, we'll identify a few items within this space. First, starting at the left and right side, emergency warning, brake, turn, and reverse light. You'll also find 2 cupped switches located on the left-hand side, scene light and hosebed light, along with an emergency warning light just above those cupped switches. As we move up in the center section, you'll find fold down access here for going aloft. Also some warning placards indicating fall hazard, never ride on the vehicle while it is in motion. Also warning, fall hazard, never ride on the vehicle while it's in motion, and also face the vehicle while it's in motion. Also warning placard indicating entanglement hazard. Because of the lines from aloft, there is the possibility of entanglement. And then also warning, exhaust, extremely hot diesel exhaust temperatures do exist. Please be cautious when operating around the exhaust area. 2.5-inch driver rear discharge. Fold down steps located in the lower section just above the running board area. As we move to the rear compartment, roll-up compartment door, there is access both from the passenger and driver's side into this space, along with on the vertical side sheet here, we have fold-down steps for gaining access to go aloft. As we move to the rear portion of the tailboard, and now we're back up to the D handle, gains you access into your ladder storage for grand ladders. At the top, you'll find pike bowl storage, 10-foot folding ladder, 14-foot roof, and a 24-foot extension. Let's move around now to the passenger side of the vehicle. We'll identify a few items within this space. First, starting with the body section, same configuration and layout as you have on the driver's side, you'll have this also on the passenger side. In the upper corner, you'll find an emergency warning light, also 2 side-facing scene lights in the upper section. As we move to all compartments open, we'll start at the very rear compartment first with an adjustable shelf and a pull-out tray located at the floor level, release mechanism located on the lower right-hand side of the floor section. As we move to the over wheel compartment, this is where you'll find a tool board storage. There is storage on both sides of the tool board. D-handle gains you access. When it is open, it will lock into position. On the hinge side, you'll find a release mechanism to restore back to its original position. As we move into the forward and rear portions of the body, you'll find SCBA bottle storage, 2 bottles forward, 2 bottles to the rear with retaining straps. Same, once again, configuration as you have on the passenger side as you have on the driver's side. Overwheel, lower zone, emergency warning light. Moving now into the SCBA compartment forward of the axle, 2 SCBA bottles with retaining straps. As we move to the lower portion below this, you'll find a marker turn indicator. You'll also find this warning placard indicating extremely hot diesel exhaust temperatures do exist, especially during regen operation. Please be cautious where you park your vehicle and provide safety parameters. As we move to the rear axle, once again, Michelin tires and Alcoa wheel. We're back up to the very top section, forward section of the body, side-facing scene light. As we move now into the passenger side pump panel, we'll start with the 2 crosslays, crosslay 1 and crosslay 2, located in the upper section. Moving now into the lower portion of the pump panel, you'll find an access door. Lift and turn latch will gain you access into this space. You'll also find just to the right of that location a warning placard indicating entanglement hazard. That's because of those lines coming from aloft. Let's go ahead and take a look inside this access panel. This is visual access into the pump panel, where you'll also find a light switch in the upper portion of that panel area. As you move to the lower section, we have an access door to the far left. As we move inside the access door, this is the location where you'll find your relief valve for your main pump inlet. You'll also find the foam tank drain located within this space. American flag, Eagle, Pierce logo, large diameter pump inlet. As we move just forward of that, you'll find your large diameter pump discharge. Also a warning placard indicating caps may be under pressure. Be cautious when opening them. This is a warning for pressure hazard. 2.5 inch on the passenger side discharge. As we move down toward the running board area, you'll find all of our color-coded and labeled discharge drains. Let's move now into the front section of the cab area, starting first down at the door panel, where you'll find affixed to the door panel safety and warning placard information. You'll also find in the forward section window control and door lock. Moving inside to the rear portion of the cab, once again 3 seats across the rear cab wall. Each of those seats do house brackets for SCBA bottles and breathing apparatus. As we look to the bottom section of the seat, you'll find additional storage. Moving now to the exterior, where you'll find LED lights lighting or illuminating the step area. As we move into the step area here, this is the rear portion of the cab. This is where you'll find your battery storage location. Moving forward to that location, flat and convex mirror. Moving now to the door handles, once again easily accessible. They are a keyed door lock. As we move to the top portion of each door, you'll find window control and door lock access. Moving now into the officer space, as we start at the floor level, you'll find a foot pedal for the air horn. There is also storage underneath the officer seat. And as we move inside the cab area, you'll find the officer seat does have a bracket for your SCBA. Let's go ahead and move back to the exterior. As we move around toward the front, you'll find the release for the hood. As we move up on top of the fender area, you'll find your marker turn indicator light. And as we move down toward the wheel area, Michelin tire Alcoa wheel. Continuing to move around to the front of the apparatus, you'll find your headlight structure housing low and high beam headlights and a marker turn indicator. Onto the front bumper extension, you'll find a side-facing emergency warning light. Congratulations, McMinnville Fire District, Oregon, on your new Pierce fire apparatus, job number 39293. If you have any questions regarding your apparatus, please contact your Hughes Fire sales representative. Thank you and congratulations.